Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ascension Sessions. This is Cheri Arellano. I am your host, and I'm so excited you guys are here with us tonight. I have quite an exciting show for you. I'm so excited to share my guest with you in a moment. But first, I just want to say really quickly, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. We are on the precipice of 1,000 subscribers, and I'm so excited because once we reach over that wall, I'll be able to share more updates and features will be available to the channel so I can give you guys more information. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you to all the subscribers who are already with us tonight. Happy summer solstice. On the eve of that, it is so hot. I don't know how hot it is where you are, but it was like 106 here today. So without further ado, also, if you're in the chat room, please say hello and tell me where you're watching from. We would love to know who's with us tonight and where you guys are located. That would be so fun. And lastly, I just want to say thank you so much for spending your evening with me and Maria. We know that there's a ton of content out there and you have so many choices for what you could be doing right now. So thank you for being with us. We really appreciate and honor your time. So without further ado, I'm so excited to welcome my guest, Maria Owl. Welcome to the show.
Aloha.
Aloha. All the way from Hawaii as well. And you are a second-time guest on the show, so thanks for coming back on.
I love hanging out with you, Cheri.
It's so fun. I was getting all excited thinking about hanging out with you tonight because we always have a great conversation. Yeah, so thank you so much for being here with us. And really quickly, I want to just say hello to Linda in the chat room and Brittany. Thank you, ladies, for being here with us tonight. Excited that you're with us. And I would love to share with you all a little bit more about Maria Owl. And then we can get right into this important information that she has to share with everyone tonight. So Maria Owl Gutierrez is an international spiritual teacher and healer. She is a natural-born full-body medium and channel. She has studied with over 15 indigenous teachers around the world, and she herself descends from Mayan, Aztec, and Huichol heritage. She has Huichol. Did I say it right? Okay. She has taught Indigenous wisdom in higher education for over 10 years, including at Dominican and Naropa Universities, and she is the former dean of students at Energy Medicine University. She holds her own master's degree in integral counseling psychology. Sorry, I just got a major distraction. In 2012, Maria founded Sacred Future School, where she supports leaders and healers to live their purpose. She is also the author of an upcoming book called Planetary Ascension, The Purpose of 3D and the Choice We Face. And guess what? You guys can get chapter 1 of that book for free right now on her website, sacredfuture.org. if you go and subscribe to her channel. So again, welcome to the show, Maria. Thank you so much for being here.
Yay. Happy to be here.
Awesome. I am just going to mess with my audio one more time.
Yeah, I sound okay, I hope?
Yes, you sound great.
Okay.
My Bluetooth is such a sneaky little devil, you know. It will like switch on me in midstream. So I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen. Everyone bear with me for one moment.
Now I want to check mine, make sure mine's okay.
Okay, now everything is set the way I want it. Awesome. Oh my goodness, it's so hot here, you guys. So bear with me if I seem a little bit sweaty. Okay, awesome. So Maria and I have been chatting lately about this Summer Solstice Portal, and a lot of information has come through Maria. She's a channeler, and we both felt like it was really important to share with as many people are open to receiving this information right now, especially with it just right around the corner in 2 days, starting on the 19th of June. But before we get into that, because you guys are going to be, I'm sure really excited to hear that information, I just want to ask Maria, if you could share with the audience a little bit for people who don't know you, like, when did your journey start as a healer, teacher, and light worker?
Right. Ooh, gosh. So really from birth, I never followed a mainstream life. I just wasn't destined for mainstream. So I always kind of danced to my own drummer and followed my heart and started on the healing path very young in my teens. And really, I mean, it was always a part of me. And so I really kind of formally started training in the energy and spiritual healing arts in my 20s. And up until then, I was more very much in a world of like angels and Jesus, from Catholic school, and which served me and really helped save my life, honestly. And then went into Indigenous medicine, started doing a lot of ritual and ceremony with Indigenous friends and teachers around the country, and then founded energy medicine and began my certification training and pathway in that way. So through my 20s, I got my certification in hypnotherapy, in Western herbalism, in Ayurvedic herbalism, and just kind of like one thing after another until I realized that I really wanted to finish a kind of formal degree, academic degree, but went the most alternative route I could. At that point, everybody was saying, why don't you become a therapist? You can make money off what you're already doing. So I did go through that, the counseling psychology training in my 30s, mid 30s to 37. And then realized it isn't actually licensing isn't my path, but that foundation has been invaluable to me. So, yeah, the mediumship and channeling, that really it was always with me, but I was what's called an out of control medium. I was an out of control medium. So that means I had no control over the visitations, the channels, the energy anatomy that is involved with channeling had been so kind of, I don't know, like tampered with, that they weren't in a really healthy calibration. And so I was picking up a lot of different frequencies that weren't clean and that terrified me. And so it took me into my 30s when I finally found some teachers who helped me to, when my 20s, clear and clean the soul incarnation channels, as they're called. And then in my 30s, went on to fine tune my actual ability and gift as a medium and channel. And it wasn't really until my early 40s that I finally kind of came into a place of like landed in the gift, landed in my ability in a really strong, empowering way. I didn't feel I was at effect of things trying to get into my body. So
wow. So you felt beings trying to communicate through you for your whole 30s, or did it start even in your 20s?
Earlier. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Childhood. Early.
Oh, childhood. Wow. Okay.
sure.
So that's a lot to deal with as a young child and not knowing like what's happening.
Yeah. And I don't want to go.
Oh, go ahead.
Some people listening may be able to relate to this. I'm not going to go deep into it, but I will say that when you are raised in an environment with trauma and dissociation, or, sometimes there's also a head injury that can catalyze someone into the ability to channel. There's also inherited, like your genetics, like your inherited design, can be, you can inherit the gift of mediumship, and that's quite common. And so I had both. I had like the trauma, the head injury, and the inherited, and my brother as well is a channel and a medium. And so I kind of was wired for that from birth, but did not have healthy container or environment, and instead had a lot of negative infiltration into the field, and a lot of kind of negative attacking happening in that astral plane realm. So I kind of grew up fighting off a lot of negative entities that were, and again, some of the listeners may be able to relate to this, but when you're on an initiation journey, whether you know it or not, because it's your destiny to be a medicine person or a shaman or whatever you want to call it, then there are actually beings that will want to thwart your success at accomplishing your mission, and you will end up facing a lot of kind of challenges and tests, you could say, and having to overcome those and strengthen yourself and find your way through those to fulfill your mission and purpose. So that was kind of my journey. I didn't, luckily I had a lot of support, on the other side, a lot of angelic support from Yeshua, from Mother Mary, from nature and the nature beings and the animal guides and plant, like so much support and protection. So much. I'm so grateful. So it's amazing to be here today and to be able to offer what I do and to help others to navigate that crazy road of initiation.
Yeah, that is quite a crazy road.
Where do you go?
Oh, I know. I'm getting a little bit of echo now. I don't know if you wouldn't mind putting your headphones on.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if that helps.
Okay. So Maria, while you're doing that, I'll wait for you to put your earbuds on. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. So for those who aren't familiar with channeling, can you just share really quickly, like the difference between mediumship and being a medium and being a channeler?
Yes, of course. So mediumship is really your ability to channel those who were in human form and passed on and went to the other side and are in the realm, you could say, of the ancestors. Or they're stuck in between, and yet they were human, basically. And channeling is when your conduit body is not just for those who are human to communicate through to this realm, but also you are able to link to streams of information from higher dimensions, from other realms, extra dimensional beings, or some people call them extraterrestrial beings. Also, many people are familiar with, the channeled books on Seth, Michael, the Law of One, and these are all people who are channeling, where they were basically like we're receivers. And if you fine tune yourself to a specific designated frequency, you can tune into like a channel, right? With someone on the other side. And through both of the people, the beings intentioning for a clear connection, you can create a nice strong link and then have a conversation as well. Full body channels are able to give permission or step aside, you could say. I find it as a kind of stepping back and making a link for consciousness that is not me, but is fully in harmonic with me. So it's not unhealthy, to come in and use my vessel body, the instrument of my body mind, to speak to others through me and do healing work through me as well. So other people can just have a telepathic communication and do it that way. So there's, everybody's different with this gift, and it comes through in so many beautiful ways.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of different ways people channel. So I've always wanted to do a show just on channeling because there's a lot of information there. So thank you for sharing those differences. And can you share with the audience who are the higher dimensional beings that you work with? I know there's many different beings that come through.
Yeah, currently, well, it was a succession, and it started for me when I finally found the containment to hold me in exploring my gift in a safe way. The first beings that came through were ancestors. So it was my mediumship that came on board that was developed first. And the ancestors of light, what I call, the elevated ancestors of light, or the ascended ancestors, would come through. And it's so deeply beautiful. They could be like the Lemurians, the Atlanteans. These are ancestors. They were living incarnate forms on Earth. So these kind of ancestors. And then I went from there to channeling the supernatural forces of nature and the deities that are connected to them. And so I was connecting with the Orisha, because for a while I was participating in that tradition. So Yamaya, Shango, Oya, Obatala, etc. And this is an African tradition that traveled around the world. And so I was doing a lot of ritual, bringing through the Orisha. And then when I left that path, I left that tradition for my own reasons, and went on and fine-tuned my channels yet again, and then started channeling what came in as the Great Mother. That was the emanation. It was this Great Mother consciousness that was a very all-encompassing feminine, like cosmic mother frequency, sense, vibration. And so that was what was coming through. And I for years, I did a Sunday morning show on Facebook where I would channel the Great Mother, and she would speak to people. And then she started getting more specific, and we started having Kuan Yin come through. We started having Green Tara come through. We started having Isis come through, and Hathor and Sekhmet, and different emanations of the Great Mother, different archetypal emanations, configurations that held very specific qualities of the Great Mother, that had specific messages, right, for our times. And then it broadened even more. Saint Germain started coming through. I cleared a conflict that I had with him, and realized I had
in your past life.
Yeah, many lifetimes where we were married, and I was angry at him. So I had to clear that, to not have resistance to channeling him, and then it became this wonderful relationship. And then we had from there the extra dimensional beings came in. So we started literally having consciousness of beings that were in craft orbiting our planet, Arcturian craft, Andromedan craft, Venusians from higher dimensions started coming in. And from there, that was really where everything started opening up for us, because we started realizing that all the beings were connected. Like, all the beings were connected. And when we start to back up and look at it as galactic friends and allies in the galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
and then the universe, and realizing that all consciousness takes on incarnation, you know, in the denser forms, like third density where we are now, fourth density where we're almost in now, and can incarnate in many different places in our galaxy and universe, and make it all the way, you know, up into the upper octaves, into seventh density, eighth density, and then be of service, right, to the third density planets.
Mm-hmm.
And we can call them ancestors, we can call them ETs, we can call them the guardians of Gaia, we can call them angels. But really, it's like this consciousness that has ascended through first dimension, second, third, fourth, all the way into 12th, you know, at the higher levels. And these are our angelic guides. This is the Christic consciousness. And so this is kind of it all makes sense now. Like it's all the same consciousness. It's just more and more specific frequencies talking to us.
Right. Wow. That's really fascinating. So it's like they're all, you know, pieces of the same pie, basically avatars that come through, right? But they're all a piece of God, you know, just like we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really how they acknowledge us as well. So like we aren't less than them. They don't talk down to us at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're the guides that Dwayne and I work with frequently. They love us so much. They are so honored that we called out with our hearts to connect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what it takes for a link to initiate, is a genuine, sincere calling out from a human heart, you know, like for support, for guidance, for insight, for intervention during these times on the planet. Like bring your insights, bring grace to our planet, bring healing energy to our planet, help us through this time of transformation and chaos, and ascension times. And they respond. They are listening for those calling out.
Mm-hmm.
And they do respond. This is happening more and more and more now. Many people, more and more, every month, every year, are linking and starting to have channeling experiences with the higher dimensional helpers, with our ET allies and cousins, galactic cousins, right? We're starting to have so many people coming through with messages and these experiences. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's a ton of channelers coming online, literally on YouTube and other platforms.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
I've heard it said that if the, you know, entity that you're channeling is talking down to the audience or the being who's doing the channeling, that they're probably not of the light, and that we have to be careful of those who speak in a condescending way or talking down.
Yes, or commanding, authoritative way.
Mm-hmm. I've also heard that, like, if they're kind of barking, like in the way they speak, can also be a sign of like a dark being, you know, where it's very clipped, like do this, do that, da, 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 you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
has that been your experience?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've been attacked and kicked beings out quickly, but I've never channeled a negative being. Thank God. Like I just won't do it. Like never.
So it never happened by accident when you were younger and you
no,
weren't aware
because
of what was happening?
So obvious. I was so protected, and I was really like with Jesus all the time as a child, because I was at Catholic school and I connected so strongly with the Christed consciousness and that healer archetype that I was
on my crown.
always, yeah. Like every night as a child, I saw Jesus sitting next to my bed, protecting me. And I could feel, it was so obvious to me when it was an energy that was self-serving, that it was in it for itself only. The only reason it was approaching me was to get something from me, my energy, right? My life force. And it was so obvious to me when this is what it was. Even when it took on the guise of in my dream time or astral travels of a family member, right? And it was still obvious. I'm like, you know how those dreams you have where it's just like, and my sister showed up or my father showed up, but it wasn't them, you know?
Right.
It's, and yes, I look like them, but it wasn't them, you know? No, they take on the guise of people we trust so that we will react in immediate, like, let them in close. But you can feel that it is not well-intentioned and does not have your highest good, you know, does not have a heart. You can't feel the love at all.
Right.
And so that's when, you know, that's when you just immediately disconnect. It's like getting trolls on social media. You just delete and block, you know. It's like,
go with your intuition on that one.
Yeah. Because you don't want to start tumbling and tossing with a trickster that's gonna, you know, try to twist your words and have you trick you into giving them permission to be able to access your life force, right?
Right.
And it's like, we don't want to consent at all to even initial interaction with that kind of energy.
If you had advice to give to people who listen to a lot of other channelers, how would you advise them on being discerning with how they choose who to listen to?
I think it's really, if it's heart opening and you get the positive, like, tingles, you know, and the waves through your body of like, woo, yeah, like that, those are your internal signals and signs that this is your own information being interpreted to you through this conduit. And that's often how the higher dimensional helpers work. They're speaking the same message through hundreds of channels, conduits, to reach as many people as possible with the same positive, life-affirming messages. And so really they're giving us key codes to wake us up. What a key code is, it's a key that unlocks the code inside of us. It's already in us. It's been there, you know, it's part of us. It's in our inherent, original, sacred, divine design. And they're just kind of poking it awake, giving it some stimulation and catalyst to help us wake up to it and remember who we are. So if you are ever feeling confused and starting to doubt your own information, because you think you should subscribe to this person's information, right? And so if they're coming across as an authority about something and it's contradicting something that that your heart is resonating at, right? Not your mind, because your mind can take you down all different roads and can get stubborn and can get resistant, right? But the heart. So when your heart knows what is true. And so when we start doubting ourselves and thinking like, wait a minute, they must be right about this and I'm wrong because they're the authority, like, stop yourself right there. Don't even go down that road, right? Bring yourself.
That's good advice.
Yeah. Bring yourself back into your sovereign, you know, your sovereign state, and just know that you can listen to anybody's opinions, anybody's information with your filter there, and appreciate their offering, and only take what fits. You know, you don't have to subscribe to everything. And it's very empowering It's very, very empowering to always just come home to your heart wisdom and let that always guide you first and foremost.
Yes, I agree. And that's such great advice, because I think that, you know, as a society, we've been programmed to give away our power, you know, whether it's going to the doctor or hiring a lawyer or education, you know, whatever. And so sometimes if we see someone who's in a position higher than us in terms of their career or their ascension path, at least perceived to be higher than us, you know, people can fall into that, I don't want to say trap, but they can fall into that false reality, if you will, of believing everything that person says when maybe they shouldn't. So thank you for saying that. That's a really helpful tip.
Yeah. And we aren't, you know, our divine human blueprint is not to be a follower. It's to be a co-creator and a collaborator. And, you know, and when we honor somebody's strength and we take instruction from them to co-create or collaborate on a project, that's different from blindly following someone without question. Right?
Right.
And so that's different. What we want. Yeah, that's what we want to reclaim for ourselves. And that's what this term sovereignty that's used so often these days is about. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that, Maria. So I also want to get into ascension a little bit, since this is the ascension sessions. I was wondering if you could share a little bit about what your definition of ascension is, and where we might be in this phase, like what phase we're in right now of the whole ascension path.
Yeah, absolutely. Woo, earthquake.
Oh, wow. I can see it and hear it. Your laptop started making noise.
Pele made an appearance.
Is that Pele?
Oh, yeah. You know it. The epicenter is very likely Kilauea.
Is it close by?
No, it's luckily.
No. Yeah. Well, you're on the Big Island, right?
Yeah.
It's like volcano city.
Live volcano land. Yes. And it's also a little kind of tangent. It's also at that 19.47 or 19.5 latitude line on our planet, which is when you put the star tetrahedron over the planet, you know, the two tetrahedrons, those lines, the latitude lines, go right through the Hawaiian Islands, and specifically right through the Big Island of Hawaii. So we are this major point of point of magnetic upwelling, you could say, on the planet. It's been recognized as a portal, very much like the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to go up to the mountain when I was there, but I really wanted to. So I just want to say really quickly hello to Thomas Olson. Thank you so much for coming in the chat room. And also Brittany said she felt the earthquake too.
Oh, hey, Brittany. Yeah. Hey, Brittany.
If you want to see the comments, Maria, you can click on comments. On the side, or you can just leave them off if you find them distracting. Whatever you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, earthquake. That was crazy.
That was awesome. Cool was that? We'll see if we get it later. Okay, awesome. So yes, back to ascension. How would you define ascension?
Yes. And so I want to just give some context. When we started connecting with the higher dimensional helpers around 2013, 14, 15, like strongly, linking with them, and we started getting information that we then started reading the raw material, the law of one series of channeled messages brought through by LNL research. And everything we were getting correlated to these Law of One books. So I'm not saying that we're channeling raw. I'm saying that we are connecting to collective, what they call social memory complexes that are in that higher dimensional field, the sixth density field, that are serving the earth in our ascension time. So when we started linking with these beings, and then we also started reading and studying the Law of One material in earnest, we started really having incredible downloads and understanding of like where humanity is right now on the ascension journey. And when we then, put that right next to indigenous prophecy and astrology, such as 2012, then we can see very well all the calendars end around 2012, and where we've been going since then is we are in the literal ascension portal right now. So ascension is really this journey of souls, right? We are birthed as beautiful, unique designs, and through creator, through the infinite creator source, right? And then, from the one came the two, came the Trinity, right? And everything is light and vibration, fractaling out from the one into more and more co-creator consciousness that has free will. And that free will consciousness has access to infinite energy, or the energy in the quantum field, and can design through vibration and light new forms all the way down, and so the ascension journey was created. First density was formed, is just incredible. Molecules, atoms, like mortality, materiality, all of this was formed way back. And the galaxy, all the solar systems, the life-giving planets, all began in first density. And first density, first dimensionality, is this experience of the elements, like the periodic chart, right? Periodic table. The elements, and the elements then create like water, minerals, like all of this is first density. And then from there, millions and millions and millions and millions of years pass, and we end, and then we come into second density. Second density is achieved through a striving towards consciousness, towards self-awareness, and that you're part of something greater. And so the elementals formed into molecules, formed into greater and greater life forms. And now we have, from being, we have second density, which is all about growth and moving towards the one. And so now we have the, microorganisms moving into bacteria, viruses, moving into more and more complex nervous systems, and then into nature, into animals. So all of this is second density consciousness. All of it is has an oversoul. So all cats have an oversoul, cat oversoul, right? All earthworms have the earthworm oversoul, right? And so when a second density being incarnates, when it returns back into the all that is feline, right? If it's a cat. And then that consciousness will eventually strive for third density, which is, third density is self-reflexive consciousness. Now we have self-awareness, we have free will, we can make choices. We always have free will, but we can now make choices based on perceiving different possibilities in the future and the repercussions, and make decisions for our life based on that. We're actually projecting forward what could be, and we're literally learning how to co-create our reality. So this is third density. The thing that's different with third density is that we have a split consciousness. In third density, we actually move out of a unified consciousness, sacred web of life in 2D, and now we're in the sacred web of life, but we have this opportunity to perceive ourselves as separate from. And we have this opportunity to move further and further away from source, not just towards source. We can actually choose to completely invest in self-service and make choices for our own gratification, not service to all, not upliftment of others, not the highest good of our community. So we have this opportunity in third density to explore negative polarity and positive polarity. And we go through, so that we have cycles, right? We have cycles of 25,000 years. This is an epic. We have an epic, and then epics and epics. Every 75,000 years, 3 epics. That's when we have this opportunity. That's a grand cycle. And at that time, we have an opportunity for ascension, or what in the law of one they call harvest. This is the opportunity for a soul to choose, to make a decision. Will I choose positive polarity, service to others? Will I choose negative polarity, service to self? Or will I not, will I make the decision to continue to explore the split consciousness, thereby staying within third density and going into another 75,000 years of exploration? But every 25,000 years, you have an opportunity to ascend, right?
What's the difference between the end of each 25,000 years and the Maha Kumbh Mela, if you will,
yeah.
and the end of the 75,000 years? Right.
And then, right, think in terms of holons, nested holons. It's like, and then that's within a grander cycle, and that's within a grand cycle. Right? Think fractals, right?
Right.
So yeah, and it's the micro macro. It's like we evolve in one lifetime through many cycles and grand cycles. So every 25,000 years, there is windows that open for ascension, where souls can choose to ascend. But the planet continues on until the 75,000 year. At 75,000 years, there's an opportunity for planetary ascension, not just individual soul ascension. And there is a time where the planet will ascend, and it is inevitable. And that's where we are right now. We are at the point where Gaia actually already has launched into fourth density, right? So we're in fourth density, and everything is shifting. Our poles are recalibrating, the poles of the earth are recalibrating for fourth density electromagnetic relationship to the sun. Sun is a huge factor in all of this and its influence on our planet. And the thing that Ra was saying, this is back in the 80s when this information was coming through in the Law of One channelings, is that human consciousness is still confused and is still split, so much so that it is creating incredible chaos in the collective human consciousness field. We are really struggling to make a decision. And so for ascension for an individual soul, you have to be, according to the Law of One materials, over 50% positive polarity, and that's it. Just be nice, just be a kind person, and you're going to ascend at the end of the grand cycle, and you'll go into the next, you'll go into fourth density, the next octave. Yet if you do not make your decision and you're the 50-50 or below 50% positive polarity, you're still very much, exploring service to self, power over others, manipulation, shaming, whatever, addictions, and you don't want to let that go yet. You're having fun in that realm. You're getting something from it. Wonderful, great. Stay there, keep going. That soul will not ascend into the positive polarity. They'll remain in a realm where they are pulled by the negative and positive. No, pulled by the negative. The negative pulls. It recruits. It seduces and recruits. The positive is just an open door, a welcome, whenever you're ready, we're here. That's positive polarity. So we are at the point where our planet has ascended, and we are in that critical moment where humanity must make this decision. A lot of things are coming that are going to shift our perception of reality and our physical reality greatly. And we're already seeing it. People call it climate change. There's a lot of other things going on. It's not just our planet. You know, this is happening in our whole solar system. And our sun is going through, you know, we're now heading from the quiet, kind of calm, no sunspots into, in the next 7 years, we're moving into maximum, you know, sunspot, solar flare activity again. And that's going to have a major impact on people and their journey into the next octave. So
awesome. Well, thank you for that beautiful definition of ascension. That you're the first guest who's broken it down like that, with explaining the 25,000 year cycle and the 75,000 year cycle. And I think that's a big point to share. So I'm glad you shared that tonight. And also when you said, like, you know, when we move from 2D to 3D, we have a choice, and we're like faced with this split or duality, polarity. You know, I saw like a guy floating in outer space and he realizes he can zoom that way or he can zoom that way, you know, like he got a jetpack on, and he can go closer to God and positivity and love, or he can go way out into the dark space, you know. And I feel like with this free will and all this power that people have been given, you know, and then the false dark agenda, like pulling people away from this reality or truth, you know, there are a lot of lost beings, and it's really sad, because we could be ascending peacefully and harmoniously with Gaia right now into 4D. So thank you for that beautiful breakdown. And so you just mentioned the solar flares, and actually this is the part of the show where we get to dive into the summer solstice. So thank you everyone for being patient in the chat room. I know that's the part you want to hear. Although everything Maria shares is super interesting and wonderful. And Brittany asked if you were going to do a live sharing, channeling tonight. And I said, no, but you're going to share from a channeling that you did earlier today and also a couple of days ago. So we are going to get to that, Brittany. That's going to be really incredible information. So let's talk about this crazy summer solstice we're heading into on the 19th. Why is it different than other years? I mean, like, you know, my birthday's on summer solstice, by the way, everyone. So I'm very present every year with this event.
Yeah, for sure.
And it does feel like it's more intense right now. You know, a lot of people are already having symptoms, physical symptoms.
Well, again, like, to put it into context, you know, we are really being we're really being saturated by a higher concentration of photons in the arm of the Milky Way galaxy that we're in. Our whole solar system has entered into this, and this is having a tremendous impact. More and more, what we call years. That's our way of measuring time. You know, more and more every year, there is more impact on the other Earth and the other planets in the solar system, especially the ones closest to the sun. And therefore, of course, you know, when we are in so you have to kind of look at it from, a multidimensional standpoint. And we're kind of so trained into our physical reality that, you know, that if you touch it, it's real, you know, but we kind of have to let our vision go soft and start to perceive more in a multidimensional way, and begin to see the geometries, the sacred geometries and vibrations going on right now. And then we start to recognize that, you know, the solstices and equinoxes has always been recognized. We all know this. That's why we have these places, you know, all over the world. Sacred sites that are built specifically in alignment for the sun to come through, you know, the slit in the rocks, or, you know, etc. The great pyramids in Giza, etc. Like everything ancient is geared up for the energetic ley lines, the grid of the earth, and solstices and equinoxes. This is a time that amplifies the cosmic energies on earth. The magnetic energies get stronger. Windows open, portals are activated. If you travel to a sacred site that's on an energetic ley line crossing, where there's a node where two ley lines cross, often like that's where a Stonehenge type of location will be. And if you go into those places, portals will open, people disappear, you can literally transport into another dimension, etc., during these times, these stronger times. So, okay, so what the information that has come through about 2021 is, so this is what they're saying, and what I'm going to do is take a breath and tune into that that stream again to bring it through.
Okay. So we are going to get a live channeling, everyone.
Well, like a live
Kind
listening. A live listening. So the higher dimensional helpers are greeting all of us with love light. There's a circle of pearlescent white light surrounding everyone in this present moment, live, and also in future replays. They are okay. So they want us to know that there's nothing to fear. We're going into this very powerful time. It's starting now. The 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd are going to be the most powerful days. It's as if the earth is going into basically like outside of time, hopping outside of time during these days, and then hopping back into time different. They're calling it we're going to receive a shower. And it feels like a really funny analogy they're using is when you go to the dentist and you're having that high, like sonic, instrument, removing the plaque and calculus from your teeth, right? They're saying that as a planet, we're literally going to be phased out of time into this pocket of higher, our simple language, I don't know how to put it into words, but a higher harmonic. It's not just a frequency, it's a higher harmonic. We're going to like blip into a higher harmonic octave, like whoop, and then we're going to receive this pulsations. They're showing me pulsations, like pulse, pulse, pulse. Each one is going to go in deeper, so to speak, permeating deeper and deeper layers, atmosphere, right? Biosphere, and then inner earth, if you want to look at it that way. And it's going to be removing the plaque, the tartar. And so what is the tartar? What is this calcification, right? And the calcification, they're showing me it is the distorted patternings. So in the harmonic eternal realms, everything is in perfect harmony. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful you cry. It's so beautiful. It's pure love. It's pure joy. It's pure beauty. It's so beautiful. Our realm right now has been in a state of reversals and inversions where everything has been everything, literally almost everything except our own souls have been perverted and inverted to seduce us to not ascend, to keep us in the lower dimension, 3D, so that we can remain in as a food source to the negative beings that feed off us, right? And they really love the power over paradigm. They don't want us to leave and ascend, so they're going to seduce us and trick us and use whatever guise they need to keep us here. So they've created a number of different ways to do this. The HARP facilities, for one, they've created a lot of distortions of that which patterns that we trust. An easy example is they take sacred symbols and they invert them and pervert them, and then they still want us to trust the frequency of that symbol. And we want to because it looks familiar, but it's not giving out the same hertz, right? Mm-hmm. Or the same emanation of light. But we trust the nice people who are saying, that it is a pure form. So basically, these are what's going to be the distortions and perversions are going to be, that's the calculus. That is the tartar that's going to be removed in this higher bandwidth that we're blipping into for these portal days of summer solstice. They're saying that each day the new codes, which are basically the harmonics that are the original divine designs of life, they're going to be amplified and magnified through the field, and our original blueprints are going to anchor in deeper and deeper each day of these portal days. And so for those of us who are sensitive, who have been doing our work, and we have been preemptively, intentionally, consciously, going in and self-investigating, where are the distortions, what is not totally aligned with truth. And we've been doing that sonic work with ourselves, with sound baths, with ceremony, with our own toning, with our salt baths, what have you. Like, we've been removing that tartar with our helpers and guides preemptively, purposefully. We're going to move into this summer solstice time, and it's going to feel, it could very well feel ecstatic. It could feel very much like channeling. Like, we're linked up. We're going to be linked up. We're going to receive downloads, you could say, packets of information coming through, light codes opening up, ascension codes unlocking in us. And it's our responsibility of what we do with that. Are we going to listen? Are we going to take action on our inner guidance and wisdom? Or are we going to buy into the lower bandwidths, get scared and confused, overwhelmed, and run away from these higher frequencies? So that's our free will choice. We get to do what we want. Mm-hmm. If we choose to participate, and this is really the opportunity for all light workers, star seeds, earth angels, we have an opportunity over the next week to literally go into ceremony for a week and be of service. We can link up to the higher dimensional helpers, to the guardians of Gaia, to the great extended fleet of allies from Andromeda, from our galaxy as well. And we can participate as one of the helpers, like, we are ascended beings who came here to be of service. And this is what we are designed to do right now. So let's go in, let's build a special altar, a shrine for this summer solstice moment with your crystals. Trust your intuition, create your crystal grid, right? Around the tree or around your garden or a special sit spot. Find your special place that you're going to go every day to participate. Do your prayers, go into your meditation. Become a clear, clean conduit for the pure love light to use you like a channel, like an instrument, like a flute, right? the divine breath comes through you and goes into the earth, helping to anchor in these original divine blueprints. Our DNA has been tampered with, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how hybridized we are. It doesn't matter. We have in us the divine. We have the God blueprint, original vibration in us. And by receiving this inhale, this breath, we can completely recalibrate and amplify the divine human being blueprint throughout all our systems. And then we can emanate that through the collective human field. So as we come through this time, okay, so one thing that they want us to know is that because this is such a clear and open doorway, many, okay, I don't know about many, but they're showing me that certain populations, certain people, certain souls, and certain regional communities of animal species are going to take the opportunity to ascend right now. So if you hear of a stranding of beaked whales, of whales, dolphins, if you hear of a population of primates in some country that suddenly all died, celebrate. Don't get scared. Don't think of it as a negative thing. They're saying celebrate because that species or that family have taken the opportunity to ascend at this point. And this is something really to celebrate. They may ascend with their bodies. They may just literally, they may transition into, because we'll be outside of our normal space-time, they may just, turn into their light bodies and ascend, and there is no trace. And so we may never know, but they're saying some souls will also choose to ascend at this time. We may recognize people in our sphere, extended family, immediate friends, family. There may be people choosing to leave through this portal, loved ones, or people you hear about. And again, celebrate. This is an incredible time to ascend. They may take their body, they may not. Most people will probably depart their physical form for this ascension if they go at this time. Very few of us have the ability to accelerate our atomic rotation to the point we can ascend with our body at this point. But they're saying celebrate. And when we come out the other side of these portal days, we will once again land on our, within our space-time, and will be different. Things will be different. People who are not tracking these transitions energetically and geometrically and vibrationally, they're going to feel this shift and not know what it is. Those who are in resistance, rejection, denial, or unconsciousness around the ascension, this ascension moment that we're in, timeline phase that we're in to 40, they're going to, they could experience this as an incredible tension and stress, because it really is, positive polarity or negative. Are you going to ascend service to others, service to self? It's your choice. This is the moment you have to choose, period, now. Like, that's literally what we're in right now. And those who are still stretched between not being able to make that decision because of so much infiltration and negativity and manipulation of our timeline and of our DNA, etc., it may be really painful for these people. So what they're saying is there's going to be galactic and also Andromeda galactic assistance. They're going to station themselves above mountain peaks and ranges around our planet, in that outside of space-time field that we're going to pop into and then pop out of. But they're going to station themselves in a way that can support the smooth and more graceful transition and support these original designs in coming in a gentle, remembering way. And really, it's supporting that ultrasonic removal of the tartar. They're going to try to help that happen in a gentle way. And they're also going to station themselves over major cities, and then the 100 miles out from the cities, etc., to the suburbs, so that they can pulse out a soothing, calming frequency. They're going to support with that to help the brain waves of those who are unconscious to not go into healing crisis that can look like lashing out in rage, self-harm, harming others, terror, panic attacks, etc. So they're really here for us. The Andromedan fleet, the allies are really here for us. They're going to really support trying to even out the brain waves as much as possible. With our permission, they do not override our free will at all. They are simply kind of offering a field of love for us to go through this experience. And so those of us who are consciously participating in this, building our altars and meditating for the next week, that's also what we're doing, but we're doing it on the ground. What they're doing, in this whatever stratosphere, we're doing it on the ground, promoting that harmonic field for peace, for this to happen smoothly.
Wow. That's amazing. Is there more coming?
And scanning. Is there anything else that's imperative with this particular audience to hear right now? Yeah, so the most important thing is you know that you're on your highest timeline, and the highest timeline of ascension for Earth, which is really the moving from the octave or the density of 3D, which is the lesson of power, right use of will, and loving others as yourself, loving yourself unconditionally, that allows you to love others unconditionally. So total acceptance and love is all is one, right? That's the lesson we learn in 3D. We don't have to be perfect to ascend. We just have to be on that path of positive polarity, doing our inner work, doing our self-healing, our alignment, our clearing, actively, intentionally. And then we move into the green ray, which is fourth density. Fourth density is universal love. That's the lesson. We move into an octave devoted to universal love. That means we start at kindergarten, right? Move up through first grade up to 8th grade. Higher and higher lessons of universal love. We begin to be of service off planet. It's a lot of advanced technology that's aligned with love, consciousness technology, not negative AI stuff. And that's where we're heading now, the green ray lessons of universal love and service. The higher dimensional planet, Gaia, in fourth density, is a positive polarity planet. We will be interacting with the fourth density negative emanations, and still kind of having those, workings with them, learnings and growth with fourth density negative, yet our focus will be on the green way, on love. And we will be in that for millions of years, and then we will move on into, when we ascend into fifth density, positive, then we move on to wisdom. That's the lesson of fifth density. We move on into wisdom, and so I want to really emphasize that there is the octave itself, within third density, we move through an octave of growth, and we have the smaller lessons, right? First through eighth grade within third density, first through eighth grade, and fourth through fifth through sixth, right? Onward. And when people talk about 5D, 5D consciousness, we're going into 5D, that's wonderful. Within third density, the lessons of 5D, right, have to do with the throat chakra, sovereignty, becoming sovereign, and being the oracle teachers, claiming your voice, sound vibration, beginning to heal with sound baths, toning, chanting, reclaiming the solfeggio scales, the accurate ones. 5D, right? We become, but the actual planetary octave we're ascending into now is fourth density, right? And so we are learning many lessons on many levels, but we cannot skip fourth density because it is the green ray. The negative polarity, they can ascend into fourth density, but they really skip the green ray and they go straight to the blue ray. They never develop the heart, and they lack that love. They aren't interested in it. They think it's a weakness. So we do not. We know it is the true bridge and power. And so we're going to really honor the green ray and fourth density, and not skip it, right? So I just wanted to name that. And at this point, they're really just emphasizing that we are so powerful. Our free will gives us this power, and it's our responsibility to direct our will for the highest good of all.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Maria. And all the higher dimensional helpers who came in to help remind you of what they shared earlier today and this week. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that. And
Welcome.
Wow, what a message, right? Moving into love. I like the reminder to not skip the heart space because it's so important. And, we're coming out of a survival energy. We're coming out of fear energy and just like superficiality and stuff like that. So I think humanity is ready, and we need to move into this space.
Yeah.
So we can be our higher self.
I know. Yeah. It's true. It's so sobering to, right? They don't protect us from the truth when they come through. They just, if you want the truth, here's the truth, in a vibrational, they give us the vibration of truth to live into and swim in, and I really feel that kind of sobriety and humility when I realize the responsibility I carry as divine human being blueprint, like emanate and spirit within this blueprint. And it's just such an incredible blessing to be alive right now. It's such a blessing. It's like out of control blessing, right?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm so grateful that I'm here at this time going through this and being able to help people awaken on their journeys, and find, help them connect the dots with the people that can help them. So that's really important. And I love how simple it is. If you know the chakra system, the green ray is the heart ray, and it's like the whole planet and all of humanity is moving up through that into that fourth chakra system. So it's really beautiful and simple, and it ties in with what you were saying about divine will and polarity and coming out of the solar plexus, which is where we have our divine will. So that's a really beautiful, simple way to remember where we're headed.
Right. And I have to say this because a lot of people ask this question, and I know that I did when I first was talking to the helpers. is that a lot of people who, especially listening to your show, you know, and are focused in on ascension and awakening dialogues right now, we have a visceral memory of living in the higher dimensions. We have a visceral recall of living and participating in community in fifth and sixth density planets and environments, and serving third density planets. And we may even have memories of choosing to come into from our higher density home to travel into the timeline of a third density planet, our Earth in this case, to be of service at this 75,000 year marker, the harvest of souls. Because we know that we can, just by incarnating, taking on a third density body with our divine human blueprint intact and alive in it, that just by being alive on the planet, we are helping for the planetary elite. We're helping more people to ascend that would other, right? So there are like waves of star seeds coming in for this purpose, wave after wave being born, simply to help as many souls as possible to make that decision to the positive polarity for the ascension. And when we go through this ascension experience, that, you know, I have my own kind of understanding of it. I've heard other people talk about a big solar flash that's going to come, and anything's possible. I don't know. But when we go through this ascension, those of us who are of the higher densities, who came into third density to serve, we have a choice. We can move on into fourth density and continue, you know, the facilitation of that and learning and growing even more in this timeline with Earth. We can also go home. We can also go home to fifth density or sixth density, right? And so there are people who are really have a strong understanding. There are people who have a strong understanding of 5D because it is their home dimension. Yet, so the way that Ra describes it in the Law of One books, and this really now from the channelings that we've done, I really am aligned with this. Most people on the planet will repeat 3D. A lot of people will. A lot of people, it is appropriate, and I mean it is who they are. They're here to repeat 3D, right? And it's like, did we ascend the first time? No. It's like, no, you do another round, you know, you do another round. But Gaia is ascending. Gaia has ascended. Like, we are in 4D Earth right now. It's just like human consciousness is finding its way there. But those who are in 3D are going to find themselves reincarnating, have the opportunity to continue 3D on another planet, in another evolving planet that's in 3D still and has not reached the fourth density ascension time.
So a different planet.
Right. Yeah.
Will it, do you think it'll look like Earth in a different dimension, like a multi-dimension?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Probably Earth-like, you know, we're humanoid. And, but again, it's like when you move outside of our kind of linear space-time and we go into our multi-dimensional, our recall of our higher dimensional perception of the multiverse, you know, what I see is just reality spheres, tons of spheres, bubbles. And you can pop into one, and it's this particular timeline of, you know, and dimension. And then this is another dimension and timeline, and this is another one. And so it really depends on what dimension you're viewing reality from. And from right now we're linear and we look at it in timelines like point A to B. And so
what do the helpers say to us who maybe see our family members, friends and family members, not on this timeline, not on this, wavelength, and maybe they don't even believe in any of this ascension business, or maybe they're just like completely asleep to spirituality, and we know that they might end up on a different timeline than those who are trying to evolve. What do they say to those people? How can we bear with that kind of heartbreak, if you will?
I know. Well, number one, I would say personally, I wouldn't subscribe to any preconceived notions or judgments or assumptions about anybody. Because remember, 50% or more, or over 50% of being a nice person is what, of being on the positive polarity of caring for people and doing your best. And even if you are in a situation that's troubling, you have to really be in survival mode. You don't have a lot of time to meditate. You're holding down 3 jobs, raising a family. There can be a lot of stressors that keep us from pursuing spiritual development. That doesn't mean you're not going to ascend. You could be you could be a very kind person. You could be, give people the benefit of the doubt. You have to be on track learning your lessons though, right? And really the way I look at it is like, how much are you in the trauma triangle or free of it? So victim, perpetrator, savior, the trauma triangle. If you are feeding that, more than 50% of your energy is feeding the trauma triangle, where you're a victim, you've got to save people, or you're perpetrating and harming others. Maybe you're a martyr archetype, self-sacrificing, harming yourself through self-sacrifice and self-abandonment. Then you're in the trauma triangle. That's what you're choosing. You have lessons there still. So if you are more than 50% in the trauma triangle, then you got, another round. Yeah, but if you're popping out, you're starting to have glimpses of liberation from suffering. You're starting to realize like, oh, wait, I can create my own reality. If I'm really kind to people are kind back. Like if I put in energy into this positive vision, tenfold comes back to my life. I feel really blessed. Like I really trust the goodness of humanity. I know that love is stronger than fear. There's a simple gauge, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I see it. And honestly, that really helped me, because when I look at my family, when I tune into my family, we may not be on the same path. We may not believe in the same things, but my family are good people. They're loving people. They're compassionate people. And I'm just like, yeah, they're ascending.
And didn't they also remind us to remember that everyone is on their own journey? They're
Absolutely.
all here for different reasons at different levels of their incarnation and their soul.
Yeah, we really can't judge, because if you are learning the lessons of the yellow ray, they're density lessons. Mm-hmm. Please, like, so important. They're so, so, so important. And you cannot, and it's foundational lessons, foundational power, right? Power over power for all. The right use of will. These are foundational lessons. You cannot skip them. Right? It's like it is such a natural course. A seed does not become a giant redwood tree overnight. You have to go through every single inhale and exhale that grows your body from a baby to an adult. You have to. Mm-hmm. And so honor that. I know it's hard to not take things personally because of our beautiful, tender human hearts and our egos. But don't take it personally, because it's really like, how can we really honor that everybody has free will And that free will was the greatest gift of love from the divine, from God. That's why the universal laws, first is the law of one, everything is the one. The second law, universal law, is the law of free will, and then the law of love. Free will is the greatest loving gift ever bestowed upon the divine, human, and mankind. And we are so blessed by that. We get to make our mistakes. We get to discover who we are not in the negative polarity, and feel the pain and suffering of what we're not by behaving in ways that harm us, addictions, like all the goopy stuff. We are so loved that we have free will to choose that,
Right.
And anybody knows who has tried to support somebody in choosing sobriety from alcoholism or drug addiction. You cannot change that person's path. Doesn't matter what you say, they have to choose sobriety themselves. That's the only way it will stick, because then the power comes from within them to change.
Absolutely. So true and so important.
And the negative polarity is by design addictive. It's seductive, addictive, sticky, goopy. So
why is there so much polarity on the planet right now? Like, why does it feel, at least to me, it feels like we're really being pulled in two different directions? There's more division and separation. Absolutely. With the whole pandemic, politics as well, which I don't want to get into, but it seems like in the past year, everyone was just being put on a side or this other side, which is not the way we need to perceive things, but that's what our society has created, red, blue, black, white, mask, no mask, vaccine, no vaccine.
Isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, we're only given two choices, left or right, black.
I know. I think it's fascinating. I think it's fascinating when you look at it from the context of ascension and of the end of the 75,000 year cycle, because this is a planetary ascension. And what Ra describes in the Law of One books is that planetary ascension, this ascension, when you ascend from one octave to the next, it is as regular as clockwork. When it is time, it happens, right? And it's happening right now, right? We are in it. And so it's like no surprise that the tension to make the choice is becoming more and more magnified and in our face. The catalyst has to get greater and greater and greater and greater until you jump into one choice or the other. You cannot sit on this is not a time of sitting on the fence. You can't sit on the fence during these ascension times. If you do not make a decision for yourself, the decision will be made for you by, the negative polarity, because the negative polarity doesn't honor free will choice. The negative polarity wants power over and will manipulate and seduce and sway your decisions. This is very, in the Christian terms, it's what they term as Satan, like the little devil on the shoulder. That's what, it's interesting to see across every culture how the negative polarity is personified or archetyped or something. But yeah, so it's like, of course it's going to get more and more tension right now, like a rubber band being pulled to the furthest extent is so taut, it is going to snap.
That's how it feels.
That's how it snaps, right? And so I know all of us here are 100% positive polarity. Like, we're just like, yeah, all in positive polarity. Yeah, where can I serve? How do I serve others in making this choice? And so we're not going to feel that snap because we are already, you could say, in the field of the harmonic and at peace. We may have little bits left that are echoes, residue from the split consciousness, but we are, those of us who have chosen, may I be an instrument of thy will, like we are already, developing ourselves as more and more finely tuned instruments. And so we really are here to serve others. And that's really what we can remember. So when you are noticing these conflicts and the polarizing propaganda, information, wars, blah, 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 going on, the divisiveness and the pitting against each other, things, my way is the right way, we are here to serve. Please remember, you are here to be of service in the harmonic. We're here to support and amplify the unified consciousness, the green ray, so we can actually step into the field and we can just be emanating like blessings to all. We are all beloved to the infinite creator source. We are all, embodying that original divine blueprint of humanity. We are all sacred. Our hearts matter. Our fears are, getting riled up. We're getting really triggered. And it matters. Let's listen. Let's listen to the inner child, because a soul retrieval can happen right now, and those who are not welcoming and rejecting and resisting, then you just simply bow to them and just recognize, okay, they're making their choice. Okay, but who is asking for my support right now? Move towards them. Don't move towards the people who are saying no to you. I don't want your help. Right?
Don't create more conflict.
Yeah. And it's really important to remember that we came here to serve. It's not about you in a way, right? It's
right. Wow. Thank you. That was really beautiful. And we've half an hour left. It's already, time has just flown by. We're here with Maria Owl from sacredfuture.org, everyone. And if you haven't already, please like this video. If you've enjoyed the information that's come through tonight, please take a moment to just hit that thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you can get more great content like this. Also, Maria, I have a question that I wanted to ask you. So the other day I believe it was one of your channelings, you mentioned the different types of helpers that are here assisting, or beings, the different type of beings that are assisting on the planet. So can you just talk through the 4 different types of beings that are on the planet?
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. Yeah.
In a sense, everything we've just been talking about will be kind of summarized by this. So what I'm perceiving is that there are 4 different incarnations upon our planet. Right? There are 4 different categories of beings who are on the planet right now in human form. And then there's a 5th category. Are you still here, Cheri? I'm going to keep talking because it says I'm still alive. So there's a 5th category. Oh my gosh, where did you go?
Sorry.
I'm just going to keep talking.
My mouse is so sensitive. I swiped right and I swiped out of the chat. Sorry. I'm back.
That's so funny.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So let's just start with the 4. Okay. So we have 4 categories. This is a good summary. So the first category are those souls who are authentically in 3rd density development, and they are incarnating into a 3rd density planet that is experiencing extreme polarization because there is incredible catalyst for growth when there is extreme catalyzation or triggering, right? A lot of triggering events, world events, global events, climactic events, political events, social events. I mean, we got it on every level right now on the planet.
Do.
And it is so catalytic. The souls who are choosing to be here have chosen it because it is so catalytic. It literally launches you into such growth that if we weren't in such a catalytic time, there would be no impetus to grow, right?
Right.
We grow because third density has the split consciousness, and we have the polarity. It creates way more catalyst. So, so there's the people who are genuinely 3D. They're on a 3D path. They have more 3D to go. They won't be ascending with Gaia. They'll continue in 3D somewhere else. We also have the second category, who are the souls who are from higher dimensions. Oh, no, sorry. They're 3D as well. And they are choosing the accelerated catalyst. They're using it, and they are choosing positive polarity. Over 50% of their consciousness has gone that direction. They will be ascending, right? So we have 3D not ascending with us to 40, and 3D ascending with us into 40. And then we have the starseeds, light workers, the ascended ones who are in from 40, 5D, 60, who have chosen. And Ra, in the Law of One books, Ra says that most of the, he calls them wanderers. We have these terms like light workers, starseeds, etc. But the wanderers on the planet right now are mostly from 6th density, says Ra. And there are about, at the 1980s, Ra said there were 65,000 of us. I believe there are way more now. Way more. So this third category is the wanderers on the planet who are here to help as many souls go into through ascension as possible. And then the fourth category are those who have chosen negative polarity. They're kind of like the wanderers, but the negative polarity ones who come in and take on form. And they are of their own free will choice have chosen negative polarity, which means you're over 95% negative. I'll repeat that. Over 95 and over. That means there is only 5% of you left that is that divine human being blueprint. The rest of you has chosen to be in the power over paradigm and skip the green ray and all of that. So you're pretty much just being controlled by an even greater consciousness that is negative, etc. They're hierarchical. And so those beings are on the planet, and they're doing whatever they can to sway the 3D undecided to go negative, or stay confused, or stay completely confused and in self-doubt and trauma. And so the way you cut people off from their divine blueprint is to traumatize them.
Yeah. And that's why they do it at birth, right? In different ways. They traumatize us at birth.
That's why they took over the medical field. That's why they took over the pharmaceutical field. That's why they infiltrated all the decision-making positions in all the main organizations of the globe. Yeah. Yeah. Right. I mean, they're genius, really. But
they're evil geniuses.
Work. Yeah. but the thing is that, you know, they, in a way, they know that they are catalysts. They are the greatest catalyst for us.
Right. Well, it's interesting because I feel like intuitively a lot of their plans have kind of backfired in this last
Exactly.
Yeah.
They think, and so there have been, I'm tangenting, there have been timeline wars. Have you ever heard that? There have been pretty extensive timeline wars going on, where the positive and negatives have been traveling along the timeline, trying to change it into their favor. Of course, the positives are protecting it and making sure that the ascension happens, and that not too much damage happens. They are making sure that the planet is not destroyed in a nuclear war, etc. They're making sure that there's no massive genocides. 50% or more of the people, right? The timeline is so protected and insured. It's amazing. But the negatives have been also trying to infiltrate the timeline. And I don't know why I started on this timeline thing, but
well, it's funny because I was watching Loki last night because somebody was like, "You got to watch Loki," who's like the bad guy in the Avengers.
Oh, yeah.
There's these interesting light shadow formation things that keep happening behind you. So Loki's like the bad guy. He's Thor's brother, right? And it's all about timelines. So I would highly watch it. It's really interesting stuff. And there's, the sacred timeline. They talk about the sacred timeline and the timekeepers. And there's 3 timekeepers who are protecting the sacred timeline. And then they have people called variants who come in and they mess with the timeline. And then they have like an army that comes in from a portal and removes those variants, and they either disintegrate you or they take you to trial. They take you in front of a judge who then decides what to do with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've heard that. There's so much disclosure. Star Trek, the Star Trek series Enterprise.
Yeah, the
with
first
Captain
one.
Jonathan Archer. No, Enterprise.
Oh, Enterprise.
Yeah, Star Trek series, and Captain Jonathan Archer is the captain. That series does a big disclosure on the timeline wars specifically.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah. I haven't seen that one. I only watched the original with, Captain Kirk and Spock.
And Stargate is another one. SG-1 is a huge disclosure. Huge disclosure. They were actually receiving information from like the Joint Chiefs of Staff for their script, for certain scripts, not all, but certain. Yeah, so it's interesting to kind of watch these series that were made back then, and now we're here at this time, and it's like, oh my gosh, they were preparing. In a way, they were like disclosing what was actually happening.
Well, in a way, they're testing us, right? Like they're testing humanity to see how awake we are. So they're like, are they awake? Are they awake? Are they awake? Are they awake? And back in the 80s, we were all asleep in a way, except like the first wavers, the first wavers who are like 20 years older than us now, maybe 30 years older than us. They were waking up, but like it was a slower progression of waking up, where now it feels like people are just waking up every day. They're coming online much more quickly, and information is more accessible. So that's been helping people wake up too. Every generation was I want to say the negative polarity has really harmed in so many ways, each generation in different ways. And with the boomers, they really came in with all the street drugs and a lot of alcoholism. And it's just, it's really, it's really sad to see the ways that the psyches have been infiltrated and manipulated, and MK Ultra started back then, and it's just so sad to see. But it's still like love is stronger than fear, and in the end, love wins. And they they try to like get their way, but that's why I mentioned the timeline thing, because one of the things that the guide said to us one channeling a couple of years ago was that they're like, your timeline is insured, your timeline is blessed, your timeline is protected. Each time the negative polarity beings go into the past to try to tweak it so that they retain power, their power positions, they end up making it so their demise happens sooner. Oh, wow.
It's so funny. And it's
that's divine and divine intervention. That's amazing.
Yeah, they all have an opportunity to join us in the positive.
Mm-hmm.
It's the door's always open for everybody.
It's so interesting too, because all of our media and all of our movies are always good versus evil, light versus dark. That's the whole superhero storyline.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it's like so prevalent in our consciousness, but yet not in a way, because we're taught that all of that is make believe and not reality and, woo woo
Right.
or whatever. So it's kind of interesting that they're like, here's reality, but don't believe any of it. It's not true.
Oh, right. They show us what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that if they can show it, the negative polarity will show us exactly what they're doing. And then if we don't say, no, you can't do that, because we think it's a movie and we think it's entertainment. And so we say no. If we don't say no, then that means we consent. And then they can do it in real life, because we don't oppose them. We don't say, no, you can't do that, as sovereign, divine human being, emanations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they trick us and manipulate our free will for their own agendas.
Right. Yeah, and it's happening right now. There's a lot of fear mongering about this vaccine passport, and people are really scared. Like, oh, I want to be able to travel. I want my kids to be able to travel. And meanwhile, nothing has really been fully decided. At least not here. Maybe it has in other countries, but I feel like it's a test. It's another way to control us. Yeah,
it is, because first it was the pandemic itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a divide around this pandemic is real, this pandemic is not real, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the vaccines. This vaccine is healthy, this vaccine is not healthy, right? And it's like flip-flopping people. It doesn't matter, right? It's like it matters that you're a good person, that you keep loving, and that you have no enemies,
mm-hmm.
and that you're kind,
right.
and generous and authentic, and feel your true emotions and make decisions from your sovereign, for your life, for your sovereignty. Make good decisions for yourself based on your deepest values.
Mm-hmm.
But don't hate on people, right? It's like, don't fall for the trick. Don't fall for the trap of divisiveness. And that's kind of in a way, it's like as we get closer and closer to, some say the solar flash, some say whatever it is, whether it's one event or a gradual, who knows how it's going to, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like these tests are so in our face right now, like never before.
Right.
Are you going to choose the trauma triangle right now? Are you going to point fingers and feel like a victim and they're your perpetrator? Are you going to rush to save people? Or are you going to be a clear channel for the divine? And that mm-hmm. means your actions are going to be inspired by the eternal harmonic realms, by the harmonic quantum realms mm-hmm. field, And when spirit moves through you, your movements are holy. What comes through you is sacred and is only positive intervention, mm-hmm. right? That doesn't come from analyzing and devising and scheming and thinking and judging and plotting.
Right. Ego mind.
That's the old paradigm and way that we've been trained.
Mm-hmm.
But we're moving into a unified consciousness now. It's very different.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, that was like an amazing show. Thank you so much for all of your information. If you guys have any questions for Maria, I think everyone was just like enraptured, because there haven't been any questions that I've seen. If I missed your question, please, if you don't mind, type it again for me now in the chat. I would love to get your questions answered by Maria. And what do you have coming up, Maria, as we wait for those questions to come through? Do you have a book coming out?
Why, yes. No, yeah. And you can tell how passionate I am about this topic. And so I do. I started writing a book before 2020. In 2019, I was reading book 4 of The Law of One, and there's a passage, really a sentence, that just I literally popped me open to even more. And I just had to I sat down and just started writing, and it's now almost 200 pages. I still have a little bit to go, another chapter to add before I'm complete. Yet you can download the first chapter on my website, sacredfuture.org. I'm kind of giving away the first chapter for free. And the intro, which gives an overview of what the book is going to be about. So it's called Planetary Ascension. And it's really like everything we've been talking about tonight, and more so, and a lot of the transcriptions from the channelings that have been coming through for Dwayne and I over since 2018. They've been you'll see through the transmissions that I put in the book, you see that they were letting us know in 2018 and in 2019 and early 2020, January, they were letting us know it was all coming. 2020 and the pandemic experience, the catalysts were on their way. They kept telling us.
Yeah, I remember reading that in chapter 1, but in your channeling, it wasn't a pandemic, it was something else, right?
Oh, that was that was before. That was in 2013.
Oh, wow. What was it that you thought it was going to be? Like a volcano or something?
It was an earthquake. Yeah, it was an earthquake.
Yeah.
And that was for a specific client I was working with I wasn't even channeling. I was doing an intuitive reading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And she's like, I want to move into this house in San Francisco. Is this a good is it a good long-term rental for me or whatever? Mm-hmm. And the guy, I'm like, yes, up until 2020. April 2020. In April 2020, there's going to be a huge earthquake, right? Because I had no concept in my library for pandemic.
Nothing,
bioweapon, nothing in there.
It definitely shook the earth, that's for sure.
Yeah, more than just San Francisco, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that was interesting for sure. But the subtitle of the book is the purpose of 3D and the choice we face. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've been talking about.
Yes. Thank you, Linda, for your comments. She says, I guess I should say great information. LOL.
I know.
She also said,
great, though. It is great.
Yeah, she said, thank you so much for the great show. And Brittany says, thank you, ladies. Thank you as well, Brittany, for all of your beautiful writings that you wrote in the chat room. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you, Thomas, as well, for being here. And Zen Lee. It was great to have you. Do you know Zen Lee?
I think I met her through one of your shows.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome, Zen Lee. And Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio popped in for a minute. Thanks for popping in, Dave. Yay. His show starts now at 9:00, so nice. I'm sure he's off to do his thing. And Yay. John also popped in for a minute. Hey, John, thank you for coming in. And Hearts Love Joe also is with us tonight.
Aw, hi, everybody. Yay. So good to share with you all.
Yes, thank you all for being here. Again, like I said, it's great that you chose to spend your time with us tonight. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. I would love to bring you more content. I'm going to be taking a couple weeks off for the rest of June as I prepare for the summer solstice, which is part of the ascension.
Really?
And also, because my birthday's Monday, so I think I'm going to take Sunday and Monday off to just really tune in. Yeah, make my little crystal altar. Another one.
Crystal grid.
And yes, crystal grid. And then we're going to be traveling. We're going to be checking out some other states in the West. So I will take a few weeks off. I'll be back with new guests for you guys, probably mid to late July. And coming on the show, we have Steve Nobel and also Vivian Chauvet and a couple others that I'm reaching out to right now. Hopefully we'll have more answers from them soon. So again, please go check out Maria's website at sacredfuture.org, where you can join her mailing lists and get updates on what she's doing, what her offerings are, and also get chapter 1 of her book. And if you have a chance, please check out our Telegram group, where I will often put in sneak peeks on upcoming guests, as well as we like to just chat about ascension stuff. So it's a nice space where you can come in and feel safe and share what's going on with you in the ascension process or ask questions. So please come and join our Telegram group. And of course, you can find us also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So this has been wonderful, Maria. Thank you so much.
Yay. Thank you, Cheri.
We should have another check-in, June 22nd. And be like, how did it go for you? How did it go for you?
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few days.
Yes, yeah. Stay present. Stay present.
Yes.
Be of service. And tune in.
And be kind.
Energies.
Yeah, be kind to yourself, guys, and take some time off. Take some baths. Spend time in nature, enjoy your meditations, all of that beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, we'll see you right here next time on the Ascension Sessions. Thank you so much. Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.